Okay, so here's the deal. I've been doing like a shitload of live streams and I haven't really meant to because it's New Year's fucking day. But I've been like talking to somebody on PM and this has been something that's kind of been percolating. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's been something that I've seen a lot of people deal with, and I know what it's like to spend a lot of money and not necessarily be in debt, but be like, I've spent this much money and I can't overcome this, blah, blah, blah. So this is for if you've spent a lot of money and you haven't seen a return yet, or you're in debt and you're using the debt to, this is my last live stream today, I promise. But I wanted to address this because I was just talking to somebody about this stuff, and this is a really, 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 really big topic, okay? So, and for some reason I didn't really know what to say to her, but I always know what to say on a live stream. So here we fucking go. Hi, Heidi. Okay, so, I was saying that I was like, I just had been talking to somebody, Katie, I was saying that I had just been talking to somebody about this issue on a private message, and I kind of don't really know what to say to her, but I know that what I have to say on live streams always works, and this is a really significant issue. So here goes nothing, okay? Now, with debt, by the way, guys, if you want to join my event, we have 1 day left. You have to let me know by tomorrow, okay? So, this person was interested, or I've been kind of like trying to explain to this girl that, I kind of had a divine download that, she said that she learns better in non-event types of situations. And I was like, okay, I respect that. And I totally do. Because I understand, like, you know, I've had the same thoughts too. And I was standing in my kitchen. I was literally standing right here. And I literally got this, like, I think it may have been God or my intuition. And it was like, that's a block. And I was like, oh, okay, it's a block. Hey, Courtney. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to say anything to her because I don't need to be that person who's like, it's a block, you know? And then this person, there was a sign that I was like, okay, I need to tell her like what I was thinking there. So I did. And we were discussing stuff and like, you know, about debt. And so what I want to talk to you about is kind of like stalling, because I'm kind of like, I don't know exactly what to say about this one, because it can be, I haven't ever been in that much debt. It can be scary to be in debt. It can be scary to have that income, that bank account lowered. So what I would say to somebody right now is this. One of the things that I did when I spent $30,000 in 24 hours, and that scared the shit out of me. I wasn't in debt. I still had plenty of money in the bank, but it scared the shit out of me because I hadn't been that low in my income, or the amount of money that was in my bank account, in a very long time. And I also have a very big tax bill to pay. One of the things that I did was I decided to, it can be devastating. Yeah. One of the things that I did was I have been looking at my bank account. Well, have been, but this was what helped me get out of it. I've been looking at my bank account, and I started asking, what does this make me feel? Get rid of the blocks. Get rid of focusing on all the blocks, because sometimes debt can create panic. Debt can create shame. Debt can create all sorts of shit. If you get the book Tapping into Wealth by Margaret Lynch, she talks about how debt is basically shame. And it's a shame about situations or things that you've done, right? And so, when I look at my bank account, it's like I ask myself, what do I see? And immediately what popped up was, it's not enough. It's not enough. Scared, fear, can't do this, can't get out of this. Money is hard to make. How am I ever going to get out of this hole? How am I ever going to do this? And I wasn't even in the hole. I had been so used to being out of the hole and having, you know, close to 100 grand in my bank account, and I spent 30 grand, and it was like, oh my God. So I don't really know, you know, debt, but at the same time, I understand that fear. It's the same type of fear. So how do you get out of it? Well, you recognize that focusing on the debt, or focusing on how much money you just spent, or focusing on how scared you are about the lack of money that you have in your bank account is going to create more of that. Number one, laser sharp, clear focus on the more that we focus on our debt. I have to sneeze, but I might not sneeze. The more that we focus on our debt and the more that we focus on the fact that our bank account is lower than it was, and the more we focus on, I had it so good, but I fucked it up, the more that's going to be created. So what will happen is clients, people, all sorts of stuff will literally stop because you're focused on that. Okay? Now I know it's really, 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 really fucking hard because it's like, but Molly, I have this debt and I can't let go of the shame and the guilt and the punishment around the fact that I have this fucking debt. And I can't invest because I'm going to go into more debt and I'm going to just be focused on this fucking debt and it's never going to go away. And if I do, take my mind off of it, what if I just keep building more debt? It's the same thing when we have a breakup or we have something bad happen and we want it to work. The first rule of thumb, if you want to get an ex back, is you gotta let it go and trust, let go of the old past shit, let go of the old pattern shit, and trust and believe that this new version is coming. It exists. You're aware that it exists and you're not ignoring it. You're not pushing it down. You're saying, okay, I know you exist. I'm gonna give you, bitch and moan and complain, state your shit, but I'm gonna release you because I know that there's something better on the horizon. And I know that something is going to change here and I can change this situation over here. So with debt, focusing on the debt is going to keep you in the debt and it's going to slow down your business. It's just, it will keep your business completely slow. I'll answer questions in a little bit. It will keep your business completely slow. It will stall it completely. So what's the need to focus on the debt? The need to focus on the debt is actually code for being afraid to come out of it. Being afraid that something will change because a part of you wanted to create that debt, because a part of you wanted to create financial crisis for yourself. So in order to get out of it, I feel like I'm stalling here. Why does that happen? In order to create change here, hang on. In order to create change here, you have to let go of your obsession about the fucking debt. So how do you let go of the obsession about the debt? How do you let go of it? How do you know when it's the right time to make a leap and invest and not go into more debt and when it's not? Good question. If you believe, that's a really good question. I would say that if you're aware that you're not spending money because you're afraid that you're literally like paralyzed because of the debt, then I would say make peace with the debt and, take a minute, take a step back, allow yourself to let go of the shame and the guilt and the punishment of the debt. I would even say do some tapping around that debt. Let go of the need to focus on the debt because of any shame or guilt or punishment. Release that. And then go, okay, why do I want to make this next investment? Why do I really want to do this? And I would look at, if I'm afraid to spend money, because when you look at your bank account, you can energetically tell what your thoughts are around your money. Because if you're like, I'm afraid to spend money because I'm in debt, or my bank account isn't where I wanted it to be. In other words, you're literally saying, I'm not, this money represents security to me and I'm fucked if I don't have a certain number in my bank account. So I'm using money as security. Therefore, money is outside of me and I'm a victim to money. Therefore, money can't come to me. If you're in that state and you have this opportunity to work with somebody that you know helps you get massive fucking results, I'd say it's not anybody else's choice but yours. If there's a party that's like in that state, but you're not, you know, spending any money or even taking care of a bill or whatever because you're like, what I would do is I would like do money mindset work and go, okay, so money is what I create. I create my own reality. Right now, I'm creating my obsession with this debt, saying that I'm in the hole, I'm focused on the hole, I'm focused on the hole. And instead of focusing on, I went into debt or I spent a lot of money, that means that that money is coming back to me. So I can either focus on this shit and stay in shame and guilt and punishment, or I can focus on my ability to succeed and recognize that the only reason I'm not succeeding right now is because I'm so fucking focused on that goddamn debt. Because if you weren't focused on the debt, you'd be focused on earning money. And what happens when you're focused on earning money? You earn money. That's why they say rich people focus on earning, poor people focus on saving. So poor people, a lot of times you'll see poor people, they're focused on their debt because they're like, oh my God, I'm in debt. That's so wrong. Do you know how many fucking people like Elon Musk went into like $500 million in debt? Do you know how many how many times Donald Trump's been bankrupt? He may be, you know, like, oh good God, why do we have this person as our president? But he's a pretty fucking good businessman. I think it's, you know, like, yeah, he did go bankrupt a few times, but he's always made his money back. And then some. I'm sabotaging myself right now. No matter how much money I make, when I open my bank account, I feel fear and there is never enough. You want to ask why you don't think there's enough? Like, is it my parents? Is it the parent story? Is it that I'm not proving myself or I'm not, you know, whatever? Release that story. Let it go. Trust and believe that money's coming to you. When I go out shopping, I look at things and say, yes, I can buy that. I never feel like I can't afford anything. Good. Very good. So what would I say to somebody who's in this whole situation of debt and how to get out of focusing on the debt? Remember that you're focusing on the debt because you're afraid to succeed. Because it hurts. It hurts to be in debt. And if you take the focus off the debt, you're saying that you're done dealing with that pain. And it's probably become comfortable. And there's a part of you that like wants to beat yourself up about it. There's a part of you that doesn't trust that money will show up for you again. And instead, you like the chaos, you like the drama, you need some sort of like thing to create, because if you weren't focused on the debt, you could make money again. Broke people focus on debt and saving. Rich people focus on earning. There's a party that probably is like, I don't want to make money right now because I'm in debt and this is fucked up and I hate money because it's so stressful and blah, 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 blah. Resistance, guys. Resistance. So what do? How do you know when to go into debt again or like to put yourself in more debt? I would really like, how would I do this? Hey, Aaron. Aaron will be at the event, guys. If you want to come to my event, we have one more day left to decide. You need to PM me for the link. How do you decide to make that jump? I would look at what got me into debt in the first place. What got me into debt in the first place? For me, what got me into a place where I spent that amount of money that I wasn't comfortable with. Reality for me was that spending that amount of money that I wasn't comfortable with was something that I wanted to do because I wanted to be comfortable with it. And I take action before I was ready. And so what was triggered within me was I made all this money. I worked my ass off and I finally had a bank account that proved to my family that I wasn't a fuck up anymore. And now I'm a fuck up. Now I'm a fuck up. Reality is that money doesn't tell whether or not you're a fuck up. And I had just made a very, 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 very long list of very, very intelligent investment in my business that will quadruple my income No joke. And for like a third of what it would have cost if I would have hired somebody else. And I actually was smart about the business decision that I made. But still. So I understand when you're in debt, it's like, holy shit, worse, right? But this is part of it where it's like, you can consider it like a test. Can you have the mental wherewithal to stay focused on earning, stay out of the feeling of the debt, put the debt aside, let go of the need to please mom and dad, let go of the need to get the money in the bank so you can survive, let go of the need to prove that you're okay because you're not in debt, let go of the need to prove yourself, let go of the need to worry about getting into more debt. What happens when we worry about creating more debt? We create more debt. When we worry about creating more debt, our business slows down, right? We create our own reality. So in other words, and so like what I would do is I would go, okay, so if I need to invest, would it be the worst fucking thing in the world if I was another 5 to 10 grand in debt? But I ended up turning my life around and making, I don't know, 300, 400, 500, $1 million a year because I went into an extra 10 grand in debt. And that's when you kind of go, okay, do I trust myself to do that? How do I, if I made that investment before, how can I trust myself again? Why didn't you trust yourself the last time to do it? Why do you think you didn't make that investment back? Why do you think it was a bad investment? Why didn't you make your money back? Take responsibility for what you did, why you weren't making it happen. Because there was a part of you that just wasn't allowing it to stick. This is an exercise that I recommend doing if you're struggling with this. Fast forward 10 years from now and look back on this situation. What would you say you were doing to yourself at this time? I would say that I was like beating myself up because I finally felt like I was taking responsibility and I spent $30,000. And the reality is that it was probably the smartest damn thing I ever did for my business. But a part of me was so used to hanging on to, the whole belief, like I needed to prove to my parents that I was financially stable and financially okay. And it was all this shit and I didn't even know it existed, but it came up. That kind of shit will come up. Debt will happen. Things happen. Remember, Elon Musk was hundreds of millions of dollars in debt. People take out loans that are hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. And they make like quadruple that. Rich people are not afraid to be in debt. I remember Danielle Laporte said this one time. She was like, I had debt. I wasn't worried about paying off debt. Like I knew it would be paid off. Like I knew it would be taken care of. Me, I had like $26,000 of debt that had been hanging out on my credit report for like 7 or 8 years. My credit like went up about 100 points the past year and all my debts cleared. And I didn't pay any dime. Well, I paid like maybe $2,500. How do you get past the whole, like when you have debt, recognize that let's say that you have $30,000 in debt right now. Or let's make it interesting. Let's say you have $50,000 in debt. Okay? And you've invested in coaches and coaches and coaches and coaches and coaches. And you're feeling the shame and the guilt of the debt. And you want to make an investment or you want to, really do your business. What I would do is I would sit down and write down every single investment that you made and why you didn't make that money back. Or why you think you didn't make that money back. What part of you wasn't mentally ready to allow that money to come back? Okay, I would write that down. And then I would write out 10 to 15 different stories of how you overcame that $50,000 in debt, not only paid it off in a year, but made millions of dollars in the process. I would also look at, okay, how do I let go of this story that I made this money or that I spent this money and it didn't come back to me. And a part of that, like, now that I'm thinking about it, like with the law of attraction and the way that money is taught, you probably have lost trust with the universe about how money flows, because like it says like what you spend you're supposed to receive in return. And sometimes like you're spending this money but it's not coming back to you in return. What could be going on is that you spent this money and it's reminding you of something in your childhood where someone spent some money and it didn't return to them, and you feel almost betrayed by money. So there's a part of you that needs to clear that betrayal. I would check out people in your family who've made bad investments. What does it make you feel like that you are in this state? What is it creating for you? How is it triggering you? Look at all these different things. But the bottom line that you want to get to is setting aside the fact that you've put yourself in debt. Like, have a different perspective on it. Kind of like if you've broken up with your boyfriend, or you've lost a client, or you've, I don't know, had a fight with your mother or your father, or whatever. Think of it something like that. How do you get past it? Well, it's not necessarily that it's not there, but like being all up in it and being like, well, you know, I have this debt, I have this debt, I have this debt. Then like, so what's your money story? If I asked you like point blank right now, what's your money story? Well, I have this debt and I have these issues and blah, 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 blah. No wonder you're not making any money. If the story is, well, I'm really, really excited because I feel really, really aligned and I'm offering a lot of really amazing content to my people and I'm selling something that I'm absolutely madly in love with and I know that my audience is in love with and I'm about to make $5,000 for the next 5 fucking days and I'm really, really excited because my income ceiling is going to like go through the fucking roof. Well, what do you think is going to happen? Be aware that shit can exist like debt and it doesn't have to impact you. Just like there can be, think about people who in sports where they've got like noise fucking like, you know, trying to get them to lose their focus. This is a test. Focus. You can do this. Okay? That's my thoughts on that. Lots of love. Talk to you guys later. I'm going to enjoy the rest of my New Year's Day. You as well. New Year's Day. Happy New Year. If you want a spot at my event, you have tomorrow to pay. PM me. Lots of love. Mwah.